I still haven't quite processed the fact that my good friend Ron Hill is not here anymore. I think what I'll always cherish and remember about Ron is he would always say, "Sis, you need me to handle something for you? Sis, what do you need? I got you." And we would have a lot of conversations about just your journey and your life story up until now. I will say one of my favorite memories was when we would always do our March Madness, and we'd always talk trash back and forth as to who had the better bracket. And of course, you had my better bracket. You had a better bracket than me, but you would always be eyes and ears on the ground, letting me know if there was a situation that needed the school's attention, if anyone felt like they didn't belong, or if someone was in trouble. I miss you terribly. It's really hard for me to go to the upper school where your picture is there. I feel your presence, but it is still very hard knowing that you're not there. We miss you incredibly. We are so much better because of you. You were the heartbeat of our school and of our division, and I am forever better because of knowing you.
Coach Hill and I definitely had a very special relationship. He always made me feel loved and accepted and welcomed and that I belonged, which is everything a teacher should be. A very special memory that I share with him is at Doe River Gorge back in March of this year. He sustained a leg injury during the trip, and the property gave him a golf cart so he could move around easier. And one of the days that we were there, he let me get on his golf cart with him, and he and I rode around the property together, and we shared laughs and memories, and we reminisced about a lot of things. He was very special. He was a very special man.
My favorite memory of Coach Hill is when, after UVA won the national championship in basketball in 2019, I went to school the next day, and we were about the only people that were really happy about it because we were both big Virginia basketball fans, and that was a really awesome moment to share with him. Um, we miss you, Coach Hill. So many awesome memories.
From the minute I met Ron Hill and we found out we were both from Virginia, that kind of took over our relationship. Every day I arrived at Mount Vernon or was walking down the hall and I would hear, "Hey, Virginia!" And I always turned to see him smile, and he would always give me a big hug. He also spent a lot of time with me talking about his experience in the military, and I could always count on him to work with me on Veterans Day. I miss him so much.
It's pretty hard to be a Wahoo fan down here in Georgia, unless you remember the 1995 Peach Bowl. I'm sure a bunch of you Bulldogs remember that one. Or if you have Coach Hill cheering on UVA sports with you every day. Whether it was basketball, football, tennis, baseball, it could have been checkers. Coach Hill knew all the stats, up to the minute information about every program at UVA. Every day I saw him, we would yell at each other from across the quad or anywhere. "Where you at, Coach? Where you at?" And both of us at the same time walk by each other, finger in the air, and say it, "Right on top." Well, Coach, we're right on top again. Only team to win back-to-back championships on one tournament. We're going to finish on top, always. Love you, Coach. Wahoo wah.
One of my favorite memories of Coach Hill was a really organic moment that nobody planned. But I was coming up for a meeting and was passing by the community space in 2 South, and there he was with Trey Tiffin and some of the other class of 2021 guys. They're all just giving each other a hard time. And after each time somebody landed a punchline, all you heard was Coach Hill's booming, infectious laugh, and which in turn made everybody else laugh too. And that's really the way I'll remember him, is somebody who fiercely loved our kids, and in turn they were super loyal to him. You know, I love and miss Coach every single day, and I'm so proud that Mount Vernon is designating October 6th as Coach Ron Hill Day as a way to keep his memory alive and to remember what a great man he was, because he will always, always be part of the Mount Vernon community.
My favorite memory of Coach Hill was sophomore year. I would come in with like Chick-fil-A chicken minis and I would leave to go to the bathroom, and I would come back and they were all gone because Coach ate them all. But then also one of my favorite memories was when I was having a bad day and Coach pulled me aside and he was like, spoke like, do you need anything? I'm here for you. And it was just so nice to always just have someone there for you. He was just all of our best friends, so.
He was just such a special guy. He was so nice to everyone. He just made your day so much better the second you saw him and talked.
I speak on behalf of every student at Mount Vernon when I say that Coach Hill was the funniest person I have ever met. But, you know, funny people are great and all, but it's the people who you can also have a deep and meaningful conversation with that have the greatest impact on you in life. And I know that he had that impact on a lot of students. I know it was my favorite day when he was my GTD teacher or my substitute. Those classes were 100 times more fun when he was there. When I would go to film football practice, I would bring him at least 10 cherry Tootsie Pops, and he would finish all 10 and ask for 10 more every single practice.
No, bye.
I'll never forget the day when we were in the mountains of Tennessee that Coach Hill showed our kids the importance of making peace. He was well respected for what he voiced to them because he's a veteran, and so they really listened to him when he told them we can't continue to operate under old paradigms. He and I had great experiences working with our group together, and I'll never forget them. The last time I saw Coach Hill, he was on his way to the hospital from a fall that he had taken while we were in Tennessee, and he was, like always, in the best of spirits, and that's how I choose to remember him. A great leader, a peacemaker, a beloved coach and teacher. We love you, Coach Hill, and we'll never forget you.
This old man.
You say I want it that way.
My favorite memory with Coach Hill is when I did private football lessons with him. After that, every time I saw him, he'd just keep asking, when are we going to do them? But we were going to do more, but we didn't get to.
A few years back, I was brand new to track and I had no idea what I wanted to do. But Coach Hill just threw me into hurdles, and it was a really new area for me, and I was really scared, but he pushed me harder and harder and challenged my body to achieve goals that I didn't even know was possible. So I really want to thank him for that, because it's really left an impact on how I feel and how I think of sports and my life achievements.
What is one word you would use to describe Coach Hill?
Genuine.
A goofball.
Hungry.
One word to describe Coach Hill would be uplifting.
Radiant.
Resilient.
I think one word I would use to describe Coach Hill was empathetic.
Joyful.
Generous. Who was he to you?
Coach. A friend.
He was like a mentor and a second father.
A coach.
He was a mentor, but both in academic setting, but also in track and field.
Second father.
Coach Hill was a father to me.
Can you share a favorite memory you have with him?
My favorite memory of Coach Hill was my freshman year in the first JV game. Whenever he had to call me in, he thought my last name was Dogger. And everybody had a really great laugh about it, and I thought it brought me a little closer to Coach Hill.
So he was the director of the parking lot my junior year, and every single morning I would pull into a parking spot and I would get out of my car and I'm like halfway out of the parking lot and he would make me go back to my car and repark. Even if I just had to move it the slightest bit, he thought it was the funniest thing in the world. But I always got annoyed by him, but it was my favorite memory.
Sophomore year, we were preparing for our first playoff game, and Coach Hill comes out like he always does with food and sits on the goalpost closest to our end zone with apple pie. And I asked him, "What you got there, Coach?" And he said, "Apple pie." I said, "That looks really good." He's like, "Yeah, I got one for Coach McKeel, but I already ate it."
We were at the sleds one day in freshman year, and me and Jonathan were playing around. And Jonathan threw me on the ground, and then Coach Hill yelled at me for it and said, "Come on, Jackson, stop messing around."
My freshman year, we won our first JV game, and we came into the locker room celebrating, going crazy, and Coach Hill walks into the room, and everybody sort of stops, and then he starts jumping around and dancing with us, having a good time, celebrating with us, and that was awesome.
Every morning, my siblings and I would come really early to school, and we would sit near the front desk, and every day he would come and sit with us and ask us about our lives and talk to us about how he would come see us at college and in the future.
Every day during GTD, Alma Merchant and I, along with Coach Hill, would go shopping for shoes every day.
When I was discussing my college options and applications with Coach Hill, he would always be there to guide me on whatever I wanted to do, and he was interested in everything that I wanted to explore, and he was there and was ready to do a lot of Google searches to see what was the best fit for me.
My favorite memory of Coach Hill is after my last senior football game at Athens Academy, that he brought us three over to talk about how respectful and how of good young men we were, and how proud he was to have coached all the Douglas kids all the way through me, and how much he respected and loved us.
Hey, Coach.
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 Coach.